See, here's the thing. There was multiversal stuff going on, so don't be surprised if you see me using feats of both these different Aquaman. They seem pretty comparable in this video game when it comes to the lore. Same powers and abilities and everything, just from different universes. You know, just wanted to get that out there before the video got started. This is the Aquaman that let Superman take control of his army. This is the Aquaman that did not let Superman take control of his army. I'm gonna be honest though, the good Aquaman got some pretty decent feats in this vid you're gonna see. Because this Aquaman you're gonna see in this vid actually beat him up, you know. But I'll be going over both their feats though. Because this Aquaman doesn't appear in the second Injustice game. So then I have to go over this one. You know what I mean? Just wanted to throw all that information out there so you won't be confused. I'm going over both. So don't be surprised if I don't distinguish between the Aquaman. There's a lot to explore in DC, and due to the vastness of it, it can be a little overwhelming. I mean, there's so many universes to dive into. I mean, matter of fact, there's so many universes, DC actually had to make a map handbook to kind of break it down so it won't overload people. No lie, I respect the organization, but today, out of all these different universes in this DC multiverse, I want to be analyzing a character within the Injustice universe, the video game universe. Let's talk about him today. Injustice, Aquaman. Why don't we? Us humans, sometimes we can easily forget how big this world is. I mean, there's a lot of land, but sometimes we forget there's actually even more water. And that's what makes the DC universe interesting. There's so much water. And beings like Aquaman rule over all that. He's an Atlantean being, meaning he can breathe underwater, withstand the pressures of underwater, and has a lot of different cool abilities because he's the king of the seas. He has a beautiful kingdom, though. He's one of them beings where his father technically is human in this Injustice lore, but he's still kind of on some, yeah, the surface people ain't really my people still type status in this universe. His duty is to Atlantis, he says, you know, standard Aquaman stuff. But let's analyze how strong he is. Shall we? Like, he can swim and breathe underwater. He always has a huge army with him at all times. And when I say Aquaman always has an army, I mean he always has an army. King of the ocean, right? Like, there's all kinds of huge beasts that will fight with him from the ocean. This many. They're literally shooting bullets at these creatures, and they're just getting hit with bullets and getting lit up, and they're just walking through it. Just to give you an idea of the creature's strength. When I say he always has an army, he has stuff that people consider a myth at his disposal, like the literal Kraken, like creatures that are bigger than ships. Even Shazam said, wait a minute, that's a myth. It's impossible. So let you know what Aquaman's got control over in the sea. Yes, a Kraken at his beck and call. Like, this is a good example of how he always has an army. Like, he told Superman he was calling his forces down, and everybody was like, wait a minute, Atlantean's armies are rising. And Superman was like, what is this? And Aquaman said, nah, this is a reminder to let y'all know y'all can't just bully me into submission, having creatures all around the world. He did this just to show Superman his strength. He has standard gear, like this super staff. When it comes to this trident in his gear, it seems like it's something he can just summon out of the blue when it comes to combat. I mean, he has your standard stuff like superhuman durability, fighting other beings that have superhuman durability. They can hit superhumanly hard. His body can withstand it. There's implications he has some type of water manipulation to be able to manipulate water, making a giant water wall. The way his moves in the game look, it implies he has water manipulation. There's implications that his trident can produce electricity too, not just water manipulation type stuff, but water and lightning. You got occasions like this that imply lightning manipulation around his staff too. This trident, for example, it's one of the few things, one of the few conduits that can handle the power of that Black Adam can channel, you know, via the Rock of Eternity. Stated here, he just straight up stated, I need an artifact, a medium to channel it, something that can withstand that level of power. And guess what? The Trident of Atlantis is able to withstand that kind of power. This kind of adds more fuel to the fire on why Aquaman's a heavy hitter if his trident can handle this kind of power. And this is the same weapon he attacks with, shoots lightning blasts from, and does all kind of energy projective type of attacks with. So it lets you know. They talk about it here. We imbue your trident with the spark of the rock's power. When its full might is released, it will seek out your weapon. And how much his trident can withstand. Working together with Black Adam, his trident was able to withstand all this energy to blast. I'm talking about super strength to the point where beings like Shazam that have the powers of multiple deities, he can hit and stagger them. And I'm talking about reflexes, like he has superhuman reflexes too, to the point where speedsters like Flash are blitzing him. He's able to react to him mid-punch. That's Aquaman. You know how Shazam can blast with lightning? He reacted to that lightning bolt, for example. I mean, he's a fighter legitly. He's not just dependent on his trident and his abilities. Like, he can legit fight with just straight hands. Like, he'll box you out, kick you out. And he's just physically overall stronger than your normal Atlantean. Like, he can solo multiple. Then he can just summon his staff. And he's skilled at staff combat too, might I add. Respect him. Yeah, he's way stronger than your average Atlantean. He can overpower all of y'all. You see him fighting a whole bunch of Brainiac robots on his own with his staff combat and murking them with ease. Injustice, Aquaman has amazing physical strength. Like, he can literally rip steel with ease with his super strength. Just a small example. And there's implications that ginormous ships like this, Aquaman can just drag and pull this big ship under. Even stated the ship is sinking. This is more than likely due to Aquaman. This is implying he can drag and pull thousands or hundreds of thousands of tons, maybe. So he already has crazy strength to like drag battleships under with his brute muscles. And his punches can indent the ship, like literally engrave it, bending steel with a punch. We actually seen him have to pull up against and fight Blue Beetle when he was possessed by Grodd's mind control, of course. Aquaman has fought Grodd. He just stabbed him. And just stabs Grodd here. Like, Aquaman ain't playing no games. When it comes to the powerhouses of the league, like Shazam, a being that has power of multiple deities, same with the Flash, he can react to them and has enough speed and just raw power in general to compete with a speedster of this universe, to the point where he actually gets the advantage over the Flash and Shazam, to the point where they're both actually drowsy. Like, this is when the other Aquaman invaded, but like, you see Shazam and Flash over here kind of looking drowsy. They thought us fans didn't notice this, but we did. Like, we're not about to ignore that Flash and Shazam are literally knocked out. Like, that's when we're not about to ignore that Aquaman did that. Aquaman a beast in Injustice. Meanwhile, these two Aquaman are like coming face to face with one another. I want you guys to realize that this being he kind of made drowsy in the fight is one of the 4 beings, along with Green Lantern, Superman, Wonder Woman. Shazam is one of the beings that has the raw strength to literally be 1/4 the strength needed to lift the entire Atlantis. Like, as you can see, Shazam is literally one of the beings strong enough to help lift an entire island or city and then move the city somewhere freaking else. So if Shazam has this kind of raw strength, what do you think his punches feel like? And Aquaman can compete with him and make him sleepy. You know his durability is crazy too. I mean, Aquaman's literally fist fighting with a being that has the raw physical strength to lift up 1/4 the weight of an entire island, and he's trading blows with stuff like this. Their hits are probably similar to this. That means Aquaman's hits have to be similar to this as well by default, right? But I'll keep going. I mean, 2 Aquamans are literally skilled enough to fight and stalemate literal mirror images of each other from alternate realities or parallel Earths or parallel universes or worlds. Can compete with somebody with nearly identical strength as him. Both of these different Aquaman feats should apply for one another. He's even gotten an entanglement with the deities like Ares, god of war, but he was not at his peak. He was kind of weakened, one could say, because the conflict in the world was not really that high. So it's something to think about. You know, don't take it too serious. He was weakened heavily. We've actually seen Aquaman fight a Green Lantern to show how much of a heavy hitter he is. Whether we're talking about Yellow Lantern, Green Lantern, you know Sinestro and Hal Jordan are usually comparable to each other. This is the type of stuff that Green Lanterns can withstand without dying. Big old craters in the moon like this, for example. I made this diagram for you guys to really get an understanding of how much impact or a crater this was made compared to the real moon. Like, you can kind of get an idea of the curvature based on how the comic is made, you know? This, as a bare minimum, would be enough to at least level a city or something. And in raw power, we know that Aquaman is clashing with beings like Lanterns, Hal Jordan. You get the idea. I definitely think, especially with the Trident of Atlantis, he would have enough raw power to sink a city or cities or two. As a bare minimum, being a powerhouse in this universe, most of the powerhouses are way above city-shattering levels of destructive force and punching power. He might be able to use energy projection to just slice it down the middle to sink it for all we know, right? I mean, whatever he might like physicals, one could say use blast power like lightning. This could partly be because of magic and how Superman hates magic no matter which universe, but Aquaman was able to sting him with his trident, even clashed arms with Superman for 2 seconds, even though he got pushed back here. It shows that he's a heavy hitter in this universe standards, one could say, even though I would have to give Superman an advantage, of course, but pushed him off of him here. It's implied his punches can sting him. Yeah, Aquaman is a powerhouse in this universe. Got hit dang near to the clouds and was able to keep on fighting. I know this might sound crazy to think about. There's a possibility that Aquaman could be a planet buster based on the fact he can damage Superman to some degree with blunt punches without necessarily using magic, because Superman of this Injustice universe, this is something you got to put in consideration. Superman, when he's going on out against Darkseid in this universe, Injustice universe in the comics, implies he can tremble entire planets like the whole planet apocalypse. They even call it world crushing. Superman, him and Darkseid, both of their blows put together was about to cause the planet's core to rupture, implying they could destroy the planet. So Aquaman was basically punching a being that has the raw power to actually tremble entire planets and threaten to destroy the core of a planet like Apocalypse. I want to hear what you guys think, though. Do you think Aquaman with the raw power his trident can put out? Do you think he'll be able to tremble a planet like Superman can based on these occasions? I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. I think there's a good chance with his blast power due to it being able to channel the power of the Rock of Eternity. It's one of those situations where, yeah, sure, we haven't seen him do it, but based on the beings we always seen him fight and competing in raw strength and how hard his attacks would have to hit, even be able to compete with him, it makes some sense for him to be in the realm of possibility of being able to possibly tremble a planet with his strikes. You know, it's in that realm of possibility if he's fighting such powerhouses like this. You guys got to remember that Injustice Superman has actually fought alternate reality versions of different Superman, like Ultraman, for example, the one we know of in the Rebirth era, New 52 era and stuff. This could kind of imply that the writers kind of want Injustice Superman to be somewhere in the ballpark with the actual canon Rebirth level characters. So as Ultraman is a Rebirth tier character, one could say, and he did this to his neck. Injustice Superman did the same one Aquaman has been scuffling with. I want you guys to remember that the neck that Injustice Superman popped was this being known as Ultraman, a being that we literally seen just fly up to the moon and literally push the entirety of the moon with his ridiculous strength. Like, it's one of those situations where I'm not trying to say Ultraman is up there with like cosmic beings, but the cosmic being known as the Anti-Monitor, for example, we've actually seen Ultraman punch alongside the real Superman, punch this cosmic being Anti-Monitor to the point where he literally made him like drip a lot of blood. Like, that's a lot of blood. Like, I'm not trying to say Ultraman is up there with a cosmic being, but like, it lets you know these beings are way past planet shattering level. Aquaman has to compete with Injustice Superman and such, you know. We've even seen him get hit by beings like Wonder Woman. It actually knocked him out, but he recovered pretty quickly. Kind of catch a Wonder Woman off guard to kind of get the advantage under the water. He has a home field advantage fighting underwater, of course, until Shazam like comes in. Don't forget that Wonder Woman is this strong. Like, I'm not necessarily saying he's necessarily equal to Superman or Wonder Woman, but yo, he can't be gazillions of times weaker. Maybe he might be half their strength or 25% their strength physically or something, but whatever he might lack, maybe his trident can make up for it, you know? When it comes to Poseidon, the god of the seas, who actually hurt Wonder Woman with his hit, we actually seen Aquaman tackle him here. Aquaman is no featherweight, even compared to a deity, even though Poseidon did get the advantage here. Don't sleep on him yet. When Aquaman took Poseidon underwater with bare punches, he's affecting him. When he puts this trident into the mix, he can damage Poseidon. Like, he didn't like kill him or nothing, but he was fighting on par with Poseidon quite a bit. But at the end of the day, this could be just me. Do you respect Aquaman of Injustice? He's pretty strong, I would say, more than you would expect. Did you learn anything new? Do you enjoy the Injustice universe? But before I get going, I gotta say thanks for the people that have donated. It helps out a lot. Respect Injustice Aquaman's strength. Both of the universe's version of Aquaman. The good Aquaman and the bad Aquaman. But I'll see y'all later, though. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.